Hey guys, I'm back. Jared again. You might have seen my video last week, which was a review of a 2014 Shelby GT500. If you haven't seen that, make sure you go back and watch it. In that video, you heard me say that the Mustang is my favorite car of all time. And it is. I mean that. I like a lot of cars, but that's my favorite. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. This is my project, my foxbody. It's a 5.0 1983 GT. We're going to get to that in a little bit. But I just wanted to make this to kind of tell you some plans for this car and talk about why the Mustang is my favorite car. Now, if we want to go way back, it started when I was like 5 or 6 years old. I was actually, ironically, right across the street from Brainerd International Raceway up in here in Minnesota. And I was watching Gone in 60 Seconds at one of my uncle's houses. And I just fell in love with the car. I mean, it sounds really cliche, Gone in 60 Seconds, but that's what happened. From there, my uncle had an SN95, so it's nothing super special, but he had a 98 Mustang GT convertible. And just growing up, that car fascinated me. He kept it in immaculate condition. It had like 60,000 miles on it. When I was a kid, probably more like 30s, 40s. But I loved that car. It never saw the winter. He kept it at his home down in North Carolina. He'd bring it up to Minnesota, where we are now and where I grew up, in the summertime. And actually, fast forward a few years, that became my car. My uncle, not the same uncle I watched Gone in 60 Seconds with, but a different uncle actually sold me that car. Now, they're nothing super special, but it had a ton of nostalgia for me because it reminded me of being with my uncle and, spending time with him. And I'm still very close to him today, but I love that car. And eventually, down the road, fast forward 3 years, I wasn't a huge fan of the top. I mean, it was fun, but handled like crap. And I didn't like the automatic. So I ended up selling the car, and I had some stuff I had to pay for. I ended up getting this one with some of the leftover funds that I had. Now, this car in particular has a big story behind it for me. I always wanted a fox body. And, a fox body is either you love them or you hate them. You kind of go, there's no really in between. It's you hate it or you love it. I personally like them a lot. I can see where you would, and I can see where it's not a super pretty car, but I always wanted one. Now, this is obviously a project. I bought it to be a project. I wanted to put my own flair on it. You can see right now it's not perfect, but it's not rusty. The paint was is faded, but it's in good shape. The front clip and the hood I replaced. That's why they're just kind of hanging there right now. The original hood's the one holding my tarp up. But the motor was pretty nice. It had some stuff done to it, some goodies. We'll talk about that in a second. But, okay, so getting the car. I drove to Marinette, Wisconsin, which I didn't think there was anything on the other side of Green Bay, but it turns out there is. And what there is this little town called Marinette, Wisconsin, and turns out it's 14 hours from here. Yeah, so me, being a dumb kid, this is when I was in tech school still. I hadn't graduated yet. I was like, I'm going to work my Saturday shift until 5 at night, and then I'm just going to get off and drive out there. So I borrowed my sister's Tacoma with the car trailer I had borrowed, and we head out, get to the cities, the Twin Cities, Minneapolis. O2 sensor goes out. So I start getting terrible gas mileage. I mean, awful, like 9, 10 miles to the gallon. So we had to stop and fill up more frequently. 14 hours later, we get to Marinette, Wisconsin. And we get to this dumpy hotel. Like, we considered sleeping in the car. That's how bad this place was. And this guy was arguing with us, you have to check out in a few hours. Why do you even want to sleep? And it's like, dude, I just need some rest. I promise we'll pay. Sorry. So then we get to the car, and long story short, we check it out. It's awesome. All I really had to do was hear it run. And it sounds like a popcorn machine. The whole thing shakes back and forth, and it sounds awesome. I drove it around, and me and my friend that drove with me went to talk about it. And he basically said, and I was like, I didn't drive 14 hours one way to not get my car. They were asking 12. He said I shouldn't pay any more than 8. And here we are. I mean, I bought the car. But, so then we had to drive back. We left Marinette around I'd say 11 o'clock, and we got back to Fargo Moorhead 2, 3 in the morning. And I mean, I have never been suffering from sleep deprivation quite that bad. I actually drove the entire way. We didn't take any turns there or back. And I mean, sticking my head out the window, smacking myself a little bit. It was bad. I was really late for class the next day. But we got the car back, and I haven't done anything with it yet. I'm actually in the process of trying to find a new shop. But here it is, and we're going to take a little walk around and talk about it a little bit. So here we go. So this is the 1983 Mustang GT. This is an 82 front clip I got on it here. It's just kind of hanging there for now. We'll show you under the hood. It has a 5-liter V8 swapped with the roller cam motor, and it's got a Holley 4-barrel carb, scat crank and cams, and Ford racing headers. Go around the car a little bit. Kind of what she looks like. There's my tree. And there's the backside over there. How I really got into Mustangs, or why, I guess that's how I got into them, why they're my favorite cars. There's just so many different ones. You know, you got this car here, which is, everyone made them into straight line dragsters. You got the Termy Cobra. You got the old Mach 1s. You have the revised Mach 1, like 2003-ish, which was kind of, you know, in between the GT and the Terminator was the Mach 1. A little bit of nostalgia there for some of the baby boomers, that kind of thing. You have the retro throwbacks in 05, of course, with a revised 4.6. There's just so many different things you can have, and I think that's why I've always liked them, all the way up to my favorite, which is the GT 500s. I can't speak for the GT 350s. I've never driven one. But I think that's where I'm at, is there's just so much variety and so much American heritage that it's just always kind of been one of my favorite cars. With that, if you liked it, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. Any questions can go right in the comments below. We'll keep updating this car as it goes. As I make progress on it, I'll keep making videos so you guys can see what's going on. But thanks for watching. See you next time.